How do you make a good movie? Now, there are probably a million answers to this question. Your camera, your lighting, your director of photography, your sense of style, story, your characters, your writing, all of these things that could definitely be credited with why a movie is good and or why we like the movie. But just in a broader, in a more general sense, how do you make a good movie? You care. That's it. Transcending everything else that goes into a film, transcending all of those concepts, all of those procedures, the highest, most important thing is that you care. Now, why is that important? Because if you care, the audience will know. If you care about your characters, if you care about your story, you will present those characters and that story in the most respectful terms appropriate to the story and the characters. You have to care about everything in your story. I'm talking about everything. If you have a main character, you better know that main character more than anybody else on set knows that person. That person better be an extension of you, even if they are the sickest, cruelest, or strangest, or most selfish, or just the nicest, most elevated person that has nothing to do with your personality, is nowhere close to your personality. That has to be some extension of you because you have to care about it like it's your own child. Why? Why do you have to care so much? Sometimes characters come and go in stories. Sometimes characters are only there to present a foil and or set up another character. I get that in theory, they might not be that important. In theory, there are story elements that might not be that important. You can say, it's fine, it's just a montage, things happen, audience will take it, they won't even pay attention to it, blah, blah, blah. The point is, you have to care. Because you, as the filmmaker, as the director, as the creator, you dictate to your audience what they care about. And you do that vicariously. For example, say you are setting up an action environment and you want a guy to come into this room and just fire 3 shots off and kill 3 guys and leave. And the whole point of that is just to establish how dangerous this world is. And we don't know who those guys were, and we don't know who that guy was. Nobody cares. If you don't care, we don't care. It does not impact the audience one bit. Now, if you care, then you create. If you care, you create. Damn it, that sounds hokey, but man, is it true. Because think about it this way, okay? You care about that person. So now you're wondering, who is this person? If you have a guy come into the room and he's listening to music, and he takes one of his little earphones out, and you hear, and it's like Korean pop music, and he shoots 3 dudes, wipes a tear, puts the Korean pop music back in, and leaves, now the audience cares. And I'm not just saying make shit weird, obviously, but I'm saying there's a reason. Why was he listening to that music? What kind of person is he? Why was he crying? Why is he in that position to shoot people if he's sensitive enough to cry when he shoots people? These are all questions that you can answer without anybody ever asking them, because when the audience sees that person, they will know that you thought. They will know that you cared. There is a reason that for that person to exist in the way that he is and be the way that he is. And that's the sort of thing that affects an audience without them thinking about it. And that's really, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. It's suspension of disbelief, which means you stop your audience from thinking your movie is a movie. And you do that by immersing them. You have to completely submerge them into your movie. And that only happens if you care. At this point in the rant, you might be thinking this is some pretty basic shit. So let me give you an example of somebody who does not care without realizing it. Character comes down the stairs to leave. Character A is the focus, character B is the little brother. Character A comes down the stairs, sees little brother making breakfast, says, all right, little bro, I'm out, and leaves. The point of that scene was obviously to establish character A is leaving the house, continuing on his journey for the day in which we are following him, and to establish that he has a relationship with his brother who also lives with him. Great. If you write that scene and you shoot that scene, you have just wasted a big chunk of your time because the audience does not care. Why is the brother living with him? Has that been established in the story? Can we restate that establishment some way in this scene? Can we reaffirm that establishment some way in this scene? Character A is going to work. How does he feel about it? Has that been shown in another scene? Is he going to relay that in this scene? Is that going to infer on his dialogue with character B, his little brother? There are all sorts of little things that you can do with this family, with this dynamic, with those characters and whatever dynamic you create between them if you care. If you care about who A is, if you care about who B is, if you care about what they say to each other. Why do they say that to each other? Why do they talk like that? Maybe he comes down the stairs and calls him a name. On his way down the stairs, and the brother responds with another sort of like vulgarity, and that's like their rapport, is that they just kind of throw insults at each other on the way out the door. That's funny. Now you care. Now the audience cares. Now that scene means something to them. There's sort of a phenomenon with filmmakers that I'm sure many of you will refute this, but this is just sort of how I feel. And I think that we love the art. I think we view the art constantly. We're always watching television. We're watching Netflix. We're watching our favorite movies. We're watching new movies. And I think that there is a sort of pre-established, preordained way that people in films walk and talk and react to each other, and things that they say in certain genres, that certain character archetypes will always deliver a line a certain way or will always feel a certain way about a certain situation. A broader term for that would be cliche, but I think cliche is a little damning of a term sometimes. I think cliche is a little accusational. Cliche is like saying, like, oh, like you did what they did just because they did it on purpose. Like, that's what you did because you're lazy. And it's not always because you're lazy. If a character's being interrogated, your cops are gonna good cop, bad cop. And a cop is gonna slam his hand on the table when he yells at somebody. These are things that have been done so many times that if you write them in your script, you're doing yourself a disservice because you're being dishonest. You're not telling a true story from you as the storyteller. You're just sort of reciprocating what you've seen before. And you do that when you stop caring. You could have a brilliant script and still have pockets of you not caring. Those pockets, I think, are where people will disassociate themselves from the movie when they're viewing it. Say you have this like femme fatale, this dangerous girl, and she's got all sorts of interesting things about her, and I really care about her, and you put her in a scene, and an actor walks in, and I recognize this actor, and I like him, and he gets in there to interrogate her, and he slams his hand on the table, he shouts some like line to her that I've heard a million times, disassociated. I've stepped out of that scene, and that what I do as an audience member is I stop paying attention, and I sit back and I wait. And I start waiting for something new to happen. Something that I've never seen before. When that happens, then I'm back in. And then I'm riding along with the movie again. That's when, then I suspend all my disbelief and I'm like, okay, I'm being told a story. And we, as filmmakers, more importantly, because we are not important, our audience, we love stories. We are just a bunch of kids showing up to a room so that we can stare at a screen and watch a story. And please, don't tell them the same story. Care about what your story is. Care about why your story is and who your story is. Care about those things enough to make them you. If you want to make a good movie, you have to care.